Welcome back, everybody. Just Mike here. Anyway, glad you could make it to part two. This clock, as I've mentioned in the first part, is kind of a difficult clock, and not that someone new would want to take on. As much as I've worked on clocks, this one took the cake, let's just say, because the timing of the clock is inside the plates and you can't see what you're doing for sure. So many times I took this frame apart to adjust what I need to adjust. And in this video, I probably show how many times I've adjusted, or I don't show the full how many times I've had to take it apart to adjust it. But the things I've had to go through to get the music box working along with the clock itself. And of course, at the end, you'll see I finally got it. Don't forget to subscribe because it's free. And give me a thumbs up if you happen to appreciate this video or if it helped you any. Go ahead and give me a comment, or just give me a comment to say hi. So anyway, let's get on with part two. Just a quick note. I have to take it apart again because I'm still not there. Like I say, sometimes working on movements, especially the ones that don't have openings, that's pretty much the only way you can do it, is to run the clock and see what's not working for you, or for the movement for all that matters. Anyway, the cuckoo bird will say isn't going back in yet. I don't have it adjusted just right. So this is the area to get the cuckoo bird to go in. This gear here has this let's call it a two star burst or whatever, and it's got to push onto this here peg in order for this to lift, because this has a hook that hooks here, and then now the bird can come back in. Until that moves again, then this will move over to shove the bird out. So I got the shut-off arm on. It slides underneath there, lifts this up, and that removes it from hitting the star wheel that's underneath here. So that way it will not cuckoo until this is lifted up again. That drops back down and it'll start cuckooing again. So I got this all together, and when I'd pull the chain, it would tick as long as I had it level. I have this system with the 4 legs, and there's a peg on the wall made for this, so you could hang your clock up. This clock would not tick for anything. I figured, oh, what do I have to worry about? Come to find out, because this movement is so big that when you start putting stress here, and this has got the 8-day clock weights on here, that it would cause the plate to bend, or flex I should say, not bend. And because of that, it stressed it out to where there was no end play, let's say, probably on the gears. And so this would not tick at all until I took it off the wall and didn't hold on to these. So anyway, now that I got that figured out, and so I can get this thing into the box, I have to do a few more repairs on the clock box itself. So this is the bottom of the clock. It's where the chains are kind of hidden in the back, let's say, then drop down, we'll say, through. The problem with this is the box has been painted, and then they put a little bit of glue on here, and then they threw in a couple staples that, maybe a quarter of an inch dropped into here. And so when you set your clock down like this, just the weight of the box is making this want to wobble, and then finally it'll pop off. Not break off, pop off, because like I say, the paint is on there, which should have been maybe painted later or left an area where the glue would have had a better chance of sticking. So what I decided to do is I cut a 3/4 by 3/4 8-inch board that I plan on putting on here, and I'll glue this on. So then once this is on good, I can put glue here and here and glue it back on the box and push on those flimsy little staples that's there. And there's a chance I might be able to stick some longer, let's say, nails or something to actually hold in here. But because of this brace here, you have more volume for the weight to be transferred to, and we'll get hopefully a better or a stronger board on the clock. So I took this off. I didn't do any deep cleaning of this. I soaked up all the oil that was dumped all over this. These needed just a little bit, so I was able to get a little in there and slide the oiler in there. Now they turn really nice. They turned good enough before, but all the oil that was, let's say, dumped on these things wasn't really in the right place. And to get this on, off, whatever, this will go into the hole. And then here you can put a drop of oil to get it go down. And then you have this E-clip that holds that in. So on this clock, to help support the bottom of this, I glued in this board here against this board in order to help when you put weight on this, that it just doesn't fall apart. And of course I had to trim this out a little bit so the water wheel will be able to go by that. So now I need to put the movement back in. We got everything hooked up in there except the music box. We turn the hand. You notice the bellows, they don't open over halfway, and that's pretty much what you want. There's a little bit over that, but you get too far and it starts messing with the movement, not able to open the bellows sometimes, because every time something runs, that's a stress on the clock, which is a normal stress, but you don't want to overstress it. So, you need to get the music box on and then hang it on the wall and see if it works. So when this here fell apart on me, the box itself, things became easier to, such as take out the music box. And I didn't think about it, but I had to take this off, in which it has screws at the bottom that will let this thing go so you can get into the music box. So all that glue that I re-put on there wasn't necessary. It's this box here that you had to glue down good. This is held in by screws, and it was glued before, but they weren't planning on anyone ever working on this. So we got the clock up and running. Ticks fine. The Cuckoo isn't as strong as it should be, and it's not triggering the music, so I gotta take it down, try to keep it together, and see about the adjustments. Okay, I still had my adjustments out and whatnot. This here, we'll call it gear, has a pin on it, and this is another warning pin. So when the first one's released, this one will come around, and there's a lever here that catches it, and it'll hold it until this is done cuckooing, and then it lifts up the pin and allows it to cuckoo. So that was a half hour, and the half an hour, the best I can see so far, it doesn't play the music on the half hour, just the cuckoo bird. The warning pin just caught. And releases the music to play. And it's a long play, and then inside there's a cam that will drop this lever here into, which causes the music to stop. Half an hour. And the music plays. So this clock ran just fine without hooking up the music box and without hooking up the bellows. And now that I have them up, you can hear I need to adjust the one there for the bellows because the one side's not working. That moved a little bit. So I gotta adjust that bellow. And the music's playing decently, but that's because I had to add an extra weight on there. So you can see how slow it's going now. I think the music box itself is messing up. So one thing I'm wondering is the teeth don't come in close enough. They're going in enough, but they're not coming in close enough. And also, I'm going to move this gear back a little bit closer so it catches the music box teeth a lot better. And the other thing I do believe this here gear will touch, you can see up above there, that's the music box itself. And I'm wondering if it's just a little bit too tight, because this shaft here does move up and down just a slight little bit. And there's nothing to tighten it because it comes through here. That's what's holding this shaft like it is now. This does have a screw on this gear, so if I needed to, I can slide it over. But what I'm also wondering is if I need some shims where this music box block is to shove it closer to inside here, so it'll connect closer here. But I'm gonna take this out anyway to see just what I can come up with, because right now there's too much strain on the movement to turn the music box, the other gears that turn the man that's milking the cow, and also the water wheel. So yes, I have this all apart again because, like I've said before, friction, let's say, makes the clock not work. I took the people off, I took all the gears out. I didn't ever really clean this up. Now I have E-clips I gotta take out because this is where the people set, and pull these out. This seems to turn okay, but I'm going to make sure each one of these are clean because I'm trying to reduce friction, and slowly taking this apart on different things, trying to get the music box to work better. The music box works real smooth and nice, and as soon as I loosened the 2 screws and took 2 screws out and pulled this back so the gear wasn't touching, the music part, we'll say, worked quite well. And so somewhere in this unit there's some kind of a stress problem. And I'm also wondering right in here whether this here was part of it or not. Actually, this goes down here for this gear hitting the spinner and whatnot that's inside here. I'm just trying to slowly eliminate what my problem might be. And that's the thing about working on these clocks. It's not a one-day thing. Yes, I've taken a couple days off totally, and I work on this on my spare time, and we need to get this thing figured out. So for the dancers, in the framework here, I already put that screw in, but the hole is meant so you can move the stand back and forth in order to get the gear to ride close enough to where the other swivel part is that makes this thing go around, so that way you can get it closer or further away if it's binding up. And yes, that's got scratches on it. That's the friction washer, I think they call that. It's a washer that's kind of bent slightly. So, because right there is where the lever is, that will slide down underneath here, lift this up, and stop the clock from cuckooing. So we're back at this clock, taking it apart again. And where the problem is now is with the movement out, the cuckoo bird will not go back in. He's way up in there. It does not go back in, and so now I have to figure out why he won't go back in. But with the movement out, he does go back where he's supposed to. And also this back whistle box that also makes the bird move up and down, we hardly have any sound. You do it slow enough you can hear it. And so somewhere either there's a leak which just has been glued on. It looks like it's glued okay unless there's too much glue in the actual hole of the box itself. And if that's not the problem, it will be this board that goes across here. It is down tight and whatnot, but there's a chance maybe it's not. It needs to go down further or up higher. So we'll be taking a look at that too. So what I've noticed for getting that cuckoo bird to go in, this here, what we'll call the Pac-Man, this here lever that drops down in to shut it off, I guess we'll call it, it's not, the pin is not falling all the way down. Let me show you real quick here. You see that the pin is not falling all the way down. If you push it down lightly, the door shuts. So I'm going to have to check out why that pin isn't falling all the way down. So where my problem was, like I say, the cuckoo bird went in just fine with the movement out, but then once he was back up here and hooked to the door, he didn't work. Now it works, and it's all in the adjustment. It's such a small hole on the inside that the bird has to fit in there just right. So he doesn't hang up on anything, because if there's a little bit on this one, if there's a little bit of pressure where when he went through the hole, that was what was causing this thing not to shut again. So now onto the bellow. You can just barely hear it. And so what I plan on doing, because we need this to give something so you can hear it outside the clock better, I'm going to take a razor blade and I'm going to cut around. And when you're cutting around, you don't have to go clear in, you're just getting that loose, and then you'd pop this thing straight off. So let me get that cut, then I'll show you me popping it off and see if we blow this thing up or not.
Normally this glue doesn't hold that strong, but it's on there good.
Still lacking. Another whistle box I've got. This here, I don't know if you can see inside there, but there's a plastic plate there also. Popping it totally off, there are no holes for the whistle to come through. And what I was almost wondering is, how does this make the tune here? So somehow or another it's able to leak through into here. And I noticed that this here, as I first started to pry it off a little bit, and it just popped right up, so it's already loose. I don't know if it'll be any good if I push on it. It's like it's blocked somewhere. So there's what it is. Right there's the, I guess I'll call it the reed. Get this stuff out of here. So what this thing's going to do is it's supposed to let just enough air by, and there's a chance this here's setting down too far, even though it's made to go down that far. And this might need to come up in order to be able to pass the air through here and make its noise. So I cleaned the reed off with a little bit of debris that was on there. I cleaned the back board off, and just setting it on there and holding it in place, it's easier to blow on now, and it's actually making a noise. So we can glue this thing back on and we should be good to go. And also gluing its original top on, which we have to clean the back of this board off. Even though using hot glue, it can be rough, but get rid of the old crap, I guess. I re-glued this on. Now it makes a sound. That's better than nothing. And all it was is removing this board carefully and cleaning the reed that blows across right at the opening, right up against this board here. It did have a little bit of sawdust maybe. I couldn't tell what that white stuff was in there. But after I scraped the back of this board clean and scraped the reed a little bit carefully, with this deep of a whistle box, that's why this tone is deeper, because it depends on where they put the block in the box here, so that way it'll have a different tone than the other one. And it's just blown across, and because of that hollow space, that's what gives it its tone. I want you to notice that I don't have the bellows opening super large, because that also adds stress to your clock. You need them to open, I say halfway at least. And now it makes a even loudness sound out of both the bellows with the whistle boxes. This music box, not hooked up, this thing ran fast enough by watching the dancers. Of course, the more you put onto the movement, such as the music box itself, it is going to pull it down to slow it down more. And then of course, of course it runs the water wheel, and it also runs the man on the side that is milking the cow. Messing with this continuously, you have to have it trying to run and trying to adjust this to where it will finally make sense, I guess we'll call it. Yes, I feel it'd be nice if this thing was moving faster, but at the moment that's the best I can do on getting it to play steady and not stopping in the middle. And also, when you're setting this up, you need to make sure that the music's done playing and move just a little bit, and you need to make sure this here has stopped before you can set it in there, so it doesn't start the music at the end and then a big blank spot and then play the music, or it's already started into the next set of notes. It's that happy medium, I guess we'll say. So I've ran this clock for 3 or 4 weeks. Being an 8-day clock, it ran beautiful. Over here, we have a guy that, as the music's playing, he's supposed to be milking a cow. This is a cow that happened to come with it because they lost the actual cow for it. I plan on trying to carve a cow for them, and if it doesn't work out, this cow's gonna just have to do. But it is a beautiful clock. It was a lot of work to work on the movement on this one, because at first it looked like it might be simple, but it wasn't. And it took a lot of tinkering to get this to where the music would play, the dancers would move. Like I say, it was really time consuming, but this clock is so big and so nice. At the end, it was well worth it. So I do hope you enjoyed this video and maybe you learned something, like if you don't know that much about clocks, don't work on this one. Because this one took more of an expert to work on it, in my opinion. The music on it still, in my opinion, it's a little slow in the starts, but I can't set it back any further without the tunes ending from the original or whatever. But anyway, like I say, this was a nice clock. Well, is a nice clock. And I'm sure they're going to be quite happy to get it back. Down the road, I'll have the cow carved, and I might show a clip of it in with maybe a different clock video and just show you whether the cow turned out or not. Anyway, until next time, don't forget to leave me a thumbs up, because that helps a lot. Leave me a comment, even if you just say hi, that's great. Otherwise, if you got a question, I'll try to answer it the best I can. And until next time, God bless.